Welcome back, everybody, to EU Masters. We're in game number 3 of our first semi-finals. I'm Munchables. I'm joined by Jamada, and you're witnessing a very real hair diff going on here on the desk. And Jamada, this has been an absolute banger so far. What are your expectations as we head into game number 3 and MOUZ move to the blue side?
Yeah, so MOUZ moved to the blue side, and I think now for BTXL, I think I need to see who they're going to realistically put this kind of pick on. Whether they're going to try and put the onus on Orome or Hatrixx to, try and shut down either Leader or Satorius so that they can't have as much late game impact. I don't actually expect the draft to change too much, and given the first 3 bans, honestly, it seems like we're just gonna keep almost in tone the exact same things. The only thing that's definitely changed though, XL haven't banned Aurelia just yet, but being on red side, they might not feel as obligated to do so.
Perhaps not. We'll have to see what their final ban is going to be. But remember, Markoon, the Hecarim, has been very much a staple pick for him. If it's not banned by BTXL, that could be an option for Pridestalkr. Just lock in the Hecarim and take away the most consistent pick that BTXL have had all tournament. Yeah,
and I wonder if XL are actually debating whether to go with the Nocturne ban that they've gone with all series long, or the Hecarim to just remove it away. And whether MOUZ even necessarily care, right? Because Pridestalkr has looked very fine on the Zinzao matchup, so we might just see, a priority AD carry, a support. We don't necessarily need to see the Hecarim come out here. We'll have to see. Time is ticking, though. I mean, MOUZ, in a way, they don't necessarily have to make too many adaptations.
Well, they might change one thing and go for that Hecarim as the first pick. MOUZ changing things up. Pridestalkr moving away from the Zinzao, and now the onus is on Markoon to decide what he wants in that matchup.
Yeah, now, are we just going to see the Resident Sleeper, Udyr lock in? Are we going to get something a little more creative? And it seems like we actually might. So, okay, we're going to get Nidalee obviously paired up immediately with this Renekton. It means that for the top side of BTXL is likely going to be the strongest side. So I expect Satorius to lean on something a little safer. He could maybe lean into something like the Nard, but even that can get bullied in the early levels. I think, yeah, Gragas can sometimes survive these dives a little bit better with the body slam. And MOUZ already, again, they've got 2 non-committal engage ultimates. There's a lot of engage in general coming up from this comp already. They're building for a strong bottom side because they kind of just know at the moment that the top side is likely just going to be a thing that they can't contest. What they do, they take an AD carry that can almost get priority in just about any AD matchup at the moment. That is MOUZ.
All right, so the Varus locked in for Gadget. He's just going to change up the style, and instead it's an Ezreal in this bottom lane for Deadly. Very different style to what we've seen.
Yeah, very, very different indeed, but I think it's just a byproduct of, it seems like XL coming into this game, they might just be looking to play fully into top here. That's why you see someone like the Ezreal locked in to the Varus. You recognize, okay, we might not have anything at the moment that can just go toe-to-toe in lane and then also kind of scale well enough that we feel confident picking it into the likes of Gragas and the Hecarim diving at the same time. We'll take the Ezreal, it can survive the lane, it will definitely take a bit of a pounding in lane, but come those team fights, obviously very self-sufficient appealing. Moving forward though, Akali banned away from Leader by BTXL, and I think that makes a whole bunch of sense. We could also just, I don't think they necessarily have to remove Sylas, but just because of the nature of Leader being pretty damn good at the champion, they might. But for MOUZ, I like removing away the Leona. I think trying to remove away another engage option is also a very strong choice here, so we could see something like the Nautilus come through as well. Oh, wow, BTXL self-banning. So maybe they're looking for Rell. That's the only thing I could potentially think of at this moment in time.
Yeah, Rell available here. Alistar also available. Alistar has been surprisingly low priority in this tournament.
Yeah, he really has. I'm not necessarily sure why. He's still a very fine champion to pick up. Still does his job, but I think just a lot of the time you get flavor of the month champions that come in and come through. I'm wondering if Rakan is maybe something that XL actually decide to opt into here, because they can just yield the bot side entirely. They leave their mid pick for R5. They're guaranteed that they'll have a little bit of engage through the bottom side, and they can get a counter in mid. It means they can likely get priority and then play into this top side and fully yield the bottom lane, and that's exactly what they've done here.
Jamada, you're a genius. I'm a little surprised by that Hatrixx ban that's coming up through, maybe leading towards potentially the Renekton flexing to the mid lane. But over to the side of MOUZ then, how do we finish this composition off? I like the idea of a Tom Kench alongside this Varus.
Yeah, I think that would make a fair amount of sense. Keeping Varus alive can be quite valuable. But they want the engage. They want the engage option. Rell, I don't necessarily think is a lane that can hard abuse the likes of Rakan and the Ezreal, just because of the amount of mobility that both these champions have. But of course, you're looking towards the mid game for that pick. So now, eyes towards the Leader. What is he going to pick here to supplement this composition, or to try and help potentially on the side lanes? In this case, it seems like with that Ryze pick,
Scaling is going to be the name of the game here for Leader, as he locks in a control mage for himself. and we'll see how that's going to work out for him. The Orianna made it the entire way through the draft. Hatrixx had some great shockwaves in the last game, so very much comfort for him. And we have our compositions locked in. Very strong top side for the side of BTXL, whereas on the side of MOUZ, I feel like both your AD carry and your mid lane are tons and tons of late game damage that can come on through. Jamada, what's your read on these two drafts real quick?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, the immediate thought is MOUZ are going to just hard play through bottom side. They might just leave Satorius, you know, a boy, and just say, hey, have fun in the ocean against the Renekton, the Nidalee. I think they just play heavy through bot side, and for XL, it just seems like Renekton Nidalee is the combination. They leave Deadly and Advienne to just survive the dives as best they can. I'm very curious on this Orianna pick, though. I will say I think it comes at a bit of a strange time. I think it's going to be very hard to pilot versus, you know, Gragas, Hecarim. It's going to have value at stopping the Ryze. You're not necessarily going to get priority.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily so sold. We'll have to see how Hatrixx actually plays out.
We'll have to see. But I'm not looking at Hatrixx right now, Jamada, because, you know, it's been a while since we've seen a UK team this high up in a tournament. And, you know, Deadly is stepping on forward today. I've got 3 lines on my shirt. This is the time for the UK to rise up. There's a UK AD carry on either side of the bracket, and Deadly on his Ezreal. I've seen this pick thousands of times in the past. He's going to pop off. He's going to win the game. And the NLC are going to make it to the finals.
I hope they do. I hope they do for our region's sake. I think either one of these teams deserves to be in final, realistically. Given the performances, the tenacity shown from MOUZ on multiple occasions, not just here today, but throughout the groups as well, to make it through on the tiebreakers is no small feat from them. And I mean, for XL, the weight of the entire NLC region on their shoulders, there's obviously a lot of talk just kind of around the strength of the region and just general performance.
Yeah.
The furthest that the NLC has been for a little while. Making it to finals would be such a huge step, not just for the organization, but for the region too.
And it would be history. It would be the first time that the region has made it to the finals of EU Masters. But I can feel it. League of Legends is coming home, Jamada. But as we look at this game, let's just take a second and appreciate the change in composition here, because game number 1, it felt like complete chaos in the early game. Really, really action-packed. BTXL managed to come out on top in the mid-game fights and then turn it into a win eventually, but that was very back and forth the entire time, but BTXL had the lead. Game number 2, bit different. Felt like BTXL found a couple of windows in the mid-game to find themselves ahead, but it was actually MOUZ that were in charge in the early game and then MOUZ that were in charge in the late stages of the game. So now, game number 3, after this kind of back and forth series, like, do you expect it to be linear? Do you expect one team to be able to control, or do you think it's going to be just as back and forth as the rest of the series has been?
I think just because of the nature of how a lot of the MOUZ games have been, I think we're going to have back and forth. I don't necessarily expect a one-sided final game here for the series, but it's just kind of hard to call, because I think for XL, I really don't think they're going to have a lot of mid lane priority in the early stages, and I think that could potentially be a big deal if it means that leader has free move to sometimes stop Orome and Markoon moving onto Satorius on the top side. So that's why I'm not so sold. They have to really play hard for it, and on this bottom side, Rakan and the Ezreal, they have to survive the best they can, because once Pridestalkr starts having a little more freedom off the back of his clears, and hell, I mean, leader could just ignore the top side and turn the bottom lane into 4-man dives, they're going to struggle. So XL, they have to execute on the top side here for me.
Okay, XL got it set up, and that's the nature of this Renekton Nidalee combo. It's so incredibly potent. Markoon changing things up. We talked about how he has played Hecarim in more than 80% of the games that BTXL have had across the course of EU Masters, changing it up with a totally different style of jungler here in the Nidalee, and I'm excited to see what kind of performance he could show for us. But Satorius, very much on the comfort pick of this Gragas. He has been able to survive pressure on this Gragas before. We've seen it time and time again throughout the group stage, so maybe that could be an option. But Markoon instead looking towards the mid lane here. Leader behind his minions for now, but the spear gonna go in. It lands. Rune Prison goes in. We'll be able to get the root flash out from both players. Nicely done by Leader to survive.
Yeah, Markoon didn't quite get the empowered pounce, it didn't look like, so couldn't actually close the gap entirely onto Leader. If he did, he's 100% dead. Takedown damage should have executed him for sure, but the play still secures him top lane Skull. He's got Krugs to go and fall back onto. Pridestalkr, on the other hand, went for the full clear into the Skull instead. Got complete control of the bottom side, so no worries there. for him about securing that skull. So junglers definitely kind of splitting the map for now. Orome did crash this wave on, I want to say, the third wave to potentially think about a dive, but I think Satorius was a little bit too healthy, though. You can see he's still very much cautious of a potential dive coming with that Tri-Brush ward. But Markoon's gone for a reset, so he's going to likely just go back and cycle his camps again.
Not going to be able to go for the dive just yet. I think Orome was just a little bit too low as well, and you really don't want Nidalee to be tagging the tower in that situation. You kind of want Renekton to be able to soak the damage. As you can see, wave crashing in favor of BTXL here, as they'll be able to find some pressure. Slight CS lead in favor of Deadly, but you can see there's a lot of minions there yet to be swept up. So you'd expect that to even out. And I'm excited to see Gadget on an AD carry here. We've seen him on Seraphine 2 games. He's now going to be knocked up, though, and potentially in trouble, as Deadly can follow up on this one. But Advienne taking a huge amount of damage for his trouble on that one.
Yeah, certainly did, but priority is secured. It's not like the dragon is up, though, so they're not going to be able to start that one up. So just trading, and it looks to get that reset off.
And it has to be said, like, Gadget has been a player that's been very prolific on picks like this Varus, but most importantly, you know, that Karthus pocket pick was always the one to go for him. But in this series, we've seen him on the Seraphine. And I'm not going to lie, not a huge fan of having a player like Gadget on that Seraphine, because this guy can carry. This guy can be the hard carry for a team. We've seen it at the World Championship. We've seen it across the course of this tournament as well. So it feels good to see Gadget back on a carry.
Yeah, it really does. And the last time I believe he had the Varus, at least the last time I recall him playing it here at the UM, he had a fairly okay game. So hopefully he can replicate that for himself. So far, doing exactly what he needs to do in terms of getting priority on that bottom side consistently, so that Pridestalkr always has a free side of the map to play into. And it seems like with the pings coming down, they are going to look to start this dragon in the very near future. I think they want to try and get some waves crashed first for a little bit of safety.
Satorius is kiting to the wrong side there.
He's out,
Might be able to get out. The spear goes wide. Oh, that's a disaster for Markoon, and it means he can't chase it. Yeah. Satorius actually walks away with that one.
Yeah, it's
criminal. That's what it is.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's borderline daylight robbery, but I mean, the fact he gets out is all that really matters for him. Is I'm gonna give first blood over. MOUZ as well, punishing with a dragon on the bottom side, or perhaps just XL. They knew they were gonna give up the dragon, looking for that top side play. Either way, it doesn't really matter how you phrase it. MOUZ will get the first dragon.
So good start here for MOUZ, and BTXL, not a great way to kick off game number 3. Not able to make that happen. That's kind of the second time that Markoon has been hovering towards that top side, but been unable to convert things. And when you look at the two junglers right now, Markoon will get the Scuttle Crab, but CS slightly in favor of Pridestalkr, who's beginning yet another full clear. He'll continue to build this CS advantage for himself. We talked about these two junglers. And both the previous games in this series, with the Zin's out for Pridestalkr, you're not really looking at the CS numbers. But now he's on this Hecarim. You expect him to farm up a storm.
Yeah, this guy just farms so efficiently. Much more efficiently than most junglers in the RLs. Where he will just look for linear clears into gank or a play at the end of the play. At the end of the clear. And that's why you see a lot of these CS leads sort of begin to accrue. Because not every single jungler in these games are doing that. They're looking for plays in between camps. They're not always clearing as efficiently as possible. And eventually it just means that Pridestalkr ends up with these massive CS leads, these massive XP differences. And we've seen him take over games already. We've seen him do it effectively kind of once in game 1, almost, in game 2 as well, on the Xin Zhao. So on the Hecarim, where he's got a lot more to sort of work with, in the sense of he's got multiple targets he can dive onto. It's kind of a scary thought, giving this guy a free Hecarim early game.
Yeah, it's definitely a nice look for Pridestalkr to just be chilling throughout this early game. Hatrixx with the flash onto Leader here. Leader's flash still on cooldown, and it is punished beautifully by BTXL.
Yeah, it seemed like Hatrixx just a little bit frustrated with the fact that they hadn't made the immediate play towards level 6. They had Advienne and Markoon in the area. Hatrixx just says, forget it, I'm flashing, I'm shockwaving. He's not allowed to be able to lane when there's this many people around. And yeah, great stuff from Hatrixx to follow up as there. Almost drops because of the Rune Prison, Advienne does, but he actually levels up, heals Guardian.
Yeah, that's what you get though when you run the USA skin in the EU Masters. You're playing to the wrong audience right there, Leader. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Where's the UK fiddlesticks at? No fiddlesticks in this tournament whatsoever. Disappointed. Terrible skin, by the way, but it still has the Union Jack on it. There will be a tower plate in the bottom side here in favor of Gadget. Markoon, though, looking for the dive. Has a Rift Herald for himself. But they don't have a wave. They can't set this up time and time again. This is falling apart a little bit for BT as they try to set this top side play up.
Yeah, they're just not able to quite sync up Markoon's appearances with the wave crashes, so not able to punish Satorius at all. And the thing with Nidalee normally is, you know, you want to have her get going just so that she can have a lot of impact. But here, I mean, look at the champion she's playing into. Gragas, Hecarim, Ryze, Varus, Rell. This is a hard team to ever navigate team fights in. And that's exactly what MOUZ are going to look to do. And XL, you know, just, well, not even XL, just this series has been so much about team fighting. If it leads into that again and Markoon has to deal with all of these champions, he's going to struggle. That was a real nice dash.
Unfortunate there for Satorius as Orome dodges the
Yeah.
explosive cast. Markoon now gets to move in, but Satorius should be safe here. It's just going to be control gained, using the trap to get vision of the control ward. Enjawve is here as well as Pridestalkr, but there is no Herald on the map, so Enjawve and Advienne both will have to make the walk of shame all the way back down to that bottom lane.
Yeah, gonna have to make that long jog all the way back, but still in the right place, so can't really shame him for it. Dragon spawning in a minute though, and XL, they still have the Herald because they didn't drop it in the top side, so let's see if they look to maybe drop it in the mid lane instead, if they can maybe gain priority there, just on a wave, and then maybe look to contest. But honestly, I feel like maybe you want to sort of just potentially drop this Dragon and look to trade more gold on the top side, if anything. If I was XL, that's exactly what I would feel like I'd want to do. I think trying to play into what MOUZ are running at the moment, especially on the spikes of all the ultimates coming up for MOUZ. I think the key thing, the engage ultimates, there, it just seems so scary to try and skirmish so early on. And it seems like Markoon is farming back up towards the top side, so it seems like BTXL, they won't be contesting this Dragon for now.
Yeah, it does look like they're going to forgo this one. You can see Leader already moving down towards this bottom side. Pridestalkr clearing vision. Markoon's moving in, though, on towards Leader. Red Buff will slow him, but Leader clears the vision, and Markoon decided not to overcommit to the play there. Orome sat underneath the tower right there. There is an on-the-way ping towards that top side, but I don't think that that's Markoon for now. I think he still wants to stick around here.
I mean, if they fight, they're just going to lose. I'm just...
He sounds speechless.
I am a little bit, because I feel like if you're XL, this is either going to be a really bad fight for MOUZ, which I don't see necessarily happening, or XL are just kind of going to get lucky, steal the Dragon, and maybe win the fight. That would be like the best case scenario.
Let's see it. It's going to be the engage coming out. Shockwave through onto Enjawve as well. They finish one off with a nice little execute, but Markoon's gone way too deep for the play. Flashes into the pit, jumps out the other side of it. It was suave, you've got to admit it. That's 2 kills for BTXL, but they do lose the Drake.
Yeah, it just seems like a strange commitment of numbers and resources when you could just go to the top side and at least trade out in gold. Try and get Orome ahead on the Renekton, because we saw what he did in game 1. It's not like you've never played with Orome's Renekton before. They finally dropped the Herald in the mid lane though, so they are going to get a little bit of return gold off of it. 3 plates, almost 4. Swing's not going to quite do it. So 3 plates worth of gold. So you can be at least happy walking away with just under 500. But it just seems strange. You could maybe grab almost an entire tower off the top side. But for MOUZ, despite dropping the kill, they can still be happy they pick up this second Dragon. And again, Ocean Soul. We know what Ocean Souls can do in a game like this. We've seen XL already get their hands on one and how oppressive it became to try and take down Orome. You see the engage comes in, Rell just dies. Like this, she's kind of going in for little to naught. MOUZ should just be in full retreat mode here. I just think, genuinely, very fortunate XL don't get punished super hard in my opinion. Yeah.
Opportunity on the top side here.
Yeah.
Orome doesn't have stun available. I think he used it earlier on in the trade. So once again, we see Markoon moving to the top lane. And once again, the opportunity just doesn't present itself.
Yeah, and it's gonna get harder to find somewhere to play around. And especially, again, once we start grouping up, I really heavily favor MOUZ's composition. It is very much a hard composition to sort of out-team fight, especially when you're running things like the Nidalee. It can get a little bit difficult. Even Renekton can struggle, even though there's the comp is relatively short-ranged. If Renekton can't find his man, you know, in Gadget, maybe even Leader to try and one-shot him, he's just going to be a crocodile that's tanky for the sake of being tanky. And if he's not buying time for Hatrixx and Nidalee, he's kind of just a body bag.
Okay, so if you are BTXL, you know that you're kind of on a clock in this one. You're going to struggle to operate these late game team fights. How do you make this play happen? Because it feels like they've tried to make the play happen on the top side and it's just not worked out. What are they doing wrong? How do you set that up?
I think for me, you can just try and pick on leader. At the moment, he doesn't have flash. Hatrixx has flash, has shockwave. You try and secure a little bit of minimal vision around the mid lane, so you know that if you're forcing numbers up towards the mid lane, you're not going to necessarily, meet much resistance. And you just look for dives, because Ryze is a very vulnerable champion in the early game if he doesn't have flash. We saw it earlier on. They free-manned him. He pretty much just died at the cost of effectively a flash out of Hatrixx, and that was it. So the fact that we've not seen BTXL bully leader in the early stages has definitely been a little bit disappointing, considering how many times they tried to go towards the top side and didn't find anything.
And it's a little disappointing to see that lack of proactivity out of BTXL when that was the
When
name of the
they've been
game
so
on
good,
game
yeah.
1. Markoon's been caught out, though. Pridestalkr was hiding in amongst the chickens. Heal comes out onto Markoon, but it's nowhere near enough. Orome is here, though, and they will answer jungler for jungler. Hatrixx getting himself that kill. 1-for-1 in the mid lane now, and BTXL can potentially look for a tower off the back of it, but Gadget is here, Satorius on the top side as well. Advienne dashes out, Orome is caught alone, knocked under the tower, bashed every which way and taken down.
Like a pinball, man. He's back, forth, up, down. He's not allowed to play League of Legends in that occurrence. Very unfortunate, just tried to step too far forward.
You're not meant to bash around the pinball table. They do not care. They're breaking the rules this time around.
Yeah, exactly. And like you say, it's Pridestalkr who just finds this angle on to the Nidalee. It just drops pretty much almost within CC. They do find the return kill onto Pridestalkr because we have this rotation come up from Advienne, but Gadget is here. It's Deadly who's stuck in the bottom side, and you can just see the CC. Body slam, Rell stun, Chains of Corruption, Magnet stun.
That was vengeance right there. That was for game number 1, Orome, because they've dealt with your Renekton before, and it's not happening again, apparently.
No, not again. Not again, they say. Not twice in one series. And Orome, this time around, I feel like in game 1, it was a slightly slower ramp. Or a slightly slower ramp. This time around, though, it doesn't really seem like they've been able to get anything for him. You can see, yes, he's up in gold on Satorius by a significant amount, but when you've got your jungler playing towards your side of the map, you've constantly forced Satorius to have to miss out on waves just because of the presence alone. You expect him to be up in gold, and especially even got the play gold mid. So I think for now, Renekton Nidalee has not yielded enough of a result just yet. But this third dragon fight could be very pivotal. Third dragon fights, I've said it all season long, I think are some of the most important, impactful dragon fights in the game. And XL, they're the first ones to start up, but MOUZ are right here.
Yeah, MOUZ are able to pull it into the brush as well, trying to clear that ward away. Markoon moving in here, will have the smite. Rell comes in, it's just Enjawve that steps on in, looks for the engage onto the backline. Here we go, big fight happens. Markoon does get the Drake, but at what cost is his team winning out so far? Satorius caught up, Orome trying to get into the play. True Shot Barrage goes a little wide on this one as Satorius. It's going to be, Satorius, sorry, is going to be stunned up here, flash on in, but Satorius flashes out. And after absolutely everything is blown, it's a singular kill, but importantly the Drake for BTXL.
Yeah, BTXL secured the Drake. Markoon stuck right next to the dragon, didn't move away from it. We'll get the replay as engages kind of just come down. It's the Realm Warp by leader to give Enjawve an opening. It's, it's an angle you can see. Pridestalkr just eyes entirely for the fight. Even smites somebody on the way in, not looking at the dragon at all. Enjawve dies. Honestly, Orome just barely missing out on getting the dice. Found the slice. But not being able to get that second dash means he can't get onto the likes of Gadget, can't get onto leader. But it's a nice, response to what was a very optimistic engage from MOUZ, in all fairness. But that can be the strength of this composition. It's not like BTXL can't outright team fight MOUZ, especially in some of the earlier stages of the mid game. But as time goes on, I expect it to get a little bit harder. But Rakan, there's not a lot to stop.
We keep on seeing Enjawve and Advienne just meeting up in the middle of the map. They're just
fist bumping each other like every time, yeah. Like, hey, dap me up, man, hey.
Yeah, they're old friends, apparently. Old friends.
Yeah.
Drake is going to be started up, though. Drake? What am I talking about? Rift Herald.
That's a Rift Herald, yeah.
By MOUZ. as they look like they should be able to just grab this one. They've got their top laner moving on over. Orome does not have TP, so you'd expect BTXL just to forgo this one and accept that this is going to be going the way of MOUZ.
Yeah, that's all. Another high five.
Yeah, they are still in the area, though. I'm not entirely sure why BTXL are in the area. I'm not sure why they're posturing for a contest. It's definitely not happening. And it will be the Herald taken by MOUZ. So now, let's look at the map. What do you expect MOUZ to be trying to do with this Herald? Where can they place this to find themselves the biggest advantage?
I mean, I think naturally you would just look towards the mid-tier one. It opens up the map the most. It means you can normally catch waves very high up in the lane and then move into the jungle. Ooh, Advienne popped his ultimate there. He was looking for leader, and he did actually get the flash, so that means that leader on this side lane now going to be a little more vulnerable. If he does step up and BTXL in the area, or just at this next dragon fight in 2.5 minutes, he won't have it available. So just all the more careful he has to play. But I think, yeah, looking towards Pridestalkr with this Herald, you could drop it bot just because it's relatively low and you're here right now. You could save it for the dragon, but yeah, there you go. It's freestanding gold at this moment in time. I think MOUZ, they just want that gold injection at the moment. They are, of course, down 2,500 gold.
Yeah, it does feel like a little bit of a, like, you've got an opportunity to finish your tower.
Just drop it,
It's as good as it's going to get with this Herald. So just getting that extra gold, as you rightly say, and also importantly, getting a bit more map control on the bottom side of the map. This game so far, the story has been about the Drakes. Third one going the way of BTXL. Recall comes through from Satorius. Markoon, I don't think is going to commit to anything here. Pridestalkr will be able to walk away. Advienne could be in trouble here. And I think we'll find knock himself a shockwave as well. Markoon is there. See ya later, Enjawve. The horsey is gone.
Yeah, it's Enjawve that's the one that's in trouble, apparently, here, as BTXL trying to set up camp in this bottom side jungle. They want this second dragon, it seems. Trying to push up high with vision. You can see Gadget with that poke. Definitely quite potent. About 350 damage off that charged up arrow onto Markoon. So if you can find a couple of arrows back-to-back onto the likes of Deadly and Hatrixx as well, especially just sort of sitting and posturing outside of these dragons, it can definitely start to stack up.
Yeah, and I want to revisit something we talked about earlier as well, because we were saying how BTXL really have to snowball this game. They have to get ahead using this Renekton, Nidalee, and turn the early game advantage into a win. Well, while the top lane dives didn't work out necessarily, you do have a monumental CS lead in favor of Orome. He's 60 CS up at this point, but also in that jungle, 3 kills on Markoon already. The Night Harvester already with a Fiendish Codex as well. He is going to be able to snowball pretty effectively there and will be essentially assassin in some of these mid-game skirmishes. It's just the later game team fights that will be the issue. So when you're looking at how BTXL are playing this, it feels like these spread out kind of weird posturing plays in the jungle actually favor them.
Yeah, they certainly could. And it's not like they don't have poke of their own to throw back with the Nidalee, with the Ezreal as well. It's just Varus can outrange it a tad. And with the kind of frontal engages I'm expecting XL to find, most commonly though, if Advienne slips into a pocket of fog, it could be pretty good. Gadget, yeah, got a flash.
Gadget forced to flash, but he's still gonna... No, he doesn't get charmed actually. It's gonna be the Rell going in instead. Advienne in trouble. Everyone in trouble. BTXL just blown apart on this one. Orome literally 1v5 here, and he manages to get himself a kill. Flash on cooldown though. He will fall. Gadget with 2 across this play, and now the Rell as they look for more. Advienne taken down. It's 3 versus 2 right here. Pridestalkr still going strong, but so is Markoon. This could be a steal. Satorius stepping forward. Looks like Markoon is going to have to opt out of this one. Leader stepping on up, but doesn't have any mana to work with. Drake taking that soul point now for MOUZ.
Yeah, it just feels like Markoon wasn't willing to give over his life for that dragon, because I mean, realistically, if he dies right here, MOUZ with the respawn timers of Gadget could potentially turn this into full control on the top side around Baron and then start to threaten that a little bit. And that would be a position that XL might not actually want to put themselves in. So I think the right call just to let it go for now. But I think this engage, whilst initially good, I think just a bit too far. From Advienne. I think once you see that he's going to flash over the wall, you come back. But you just see multiple members of XL have crowded around to try and make this pick a reality. And it just means MOUZ kind of just get free reign to just chuck all their Archies into the middle of the BTXL members. And there's not really much response there for it. The Realm Warp, I questioned it a little bit at first, but honestly, yeah, no, they get the pick. Of course, Gadget does die, but the end of the day, it means they still secure that Dragon Soul point. And,
Yeah,
man, Gadget's damage, despite being the one engaged onto, pretty naive, if you ask me.
This is the power of that lethality Varus as well. These kind of fights, especially in the early game, are where the lethality Varus really will thrive. Markoon could be caught out here, as they are going to be able to force MOUZ out of play. Nice little true shot barrage there for Deadly, managing to hit 3 people. But we're seeing 2 items now finished on Deadly, 2 on Hatrixx as well. The scaling is starting to come through on either side as we're getting the 2-item mark on each of these carries. Another pick potentially onto Enjawve here, but that's going to be a nice ulti out from Gadget to answer it and deny the play. So it's all going to be equalized now. Baron on the cards, no Drake for another 3 minutes. Jamada, I've got a feeling the game might slow down a little bit again.
Yeah, I'm expecting not a whole bunch in the next couple of minutes. I feel like MOUZ, despite being down in gold, they probably feel comfortable in the game to try and let this go to Soul Point. Just because the pressure it will put on BTXL to potentially just make an outright error. Like they did, going for that pick onto Gadget and overextending, I think will likely yield a slightly higher result for Pridestalkr. I think if you're XL, you maybe look... Oh, okay.
Here we go. BTXL not going to wait for Soul Point here. Orome TP's behind everyone, but Leader just roots him and walks away. So, sure, they try to make a play, but you said that MOUZ are just going to wait for a BTXL error. Well, they found it.
Yeah, it's not necessarily an error, it just doesn't end up working. So it's one of those weird balances. Pridestalkr kind of just posturing high up the lane. These guys want to fight, man. Gadget just got chunked out so hard.
Yeah, Gadget is real. Realm warp to safety. See you later, says Leader.
Yeah, Leader doesn't want his team to be involved in that, but with the teleport commit, it means Orome has to group up with his team. And yeah, I was gonna say initially on my point, BTXL might just look for a Baron derived from this teleport because they were looking for a pick. Now seems to be the case, and MOUZ, they've got ultimates to answer this. If BTXL clump up too close together in front of this Baron, it's deadly.
Oh, here we go. Advienne looking for the engagement, flashed away from. Cast goes in, Fear goes in. Pridestalkr stunned though, as Enjawve can't find his way onto the backline for now. Orome forced out. BTXL disengage and keep themselves safe.
Yeah, they do manage to disengage, but I mean, just the fact that MOUZ are able to push them off the Baron is a big enough win, and I mean, if those ultimates were a little more laid in with one another, XL would have lost members, and potentially Baron. Pridestalkr is on a mission to find a pick again.
Yeah, they're playing with fire here though, and it's actually going to be Pridestalkr that's knocked up and kind of kicked out of the play. Both teams really committed to denying this from each other, but not quite going to be able to find any picks. And this is on a knife set. Remember, this is a best of 3. This game decides who will make it to the finals, and for both squads, making it to this final will make history for their organization.
Yeah, it really will, and this next Dragon fight could be the difference between BTXL going home and MOUZ going home, not progressing any further. And with all of this control that was sort of being jostled over on the top side, I was curious to see who would make it to the bottom side of the map first. At the moment on my minimap, it looks like XL potentially could. They'd maybe have to forego the lane priority, but I think just with the positioning of MOUZ and the fact that XL slowed down to farm up jungle camps on their way in, this is Advienne.
Advienne is on Rakan though, which is technically never caught out as far as I've seen in my time in League of Legends. Enjawve taking a bit of damage, and I have to say, I'm impressed by the amount of long-range damage that this BTXL comp has. I was thinking poke because of the Varus is going to be MOUZ's way, but with this Ezreal on top of the Nidalee, there's a lot of prod being thrown out by BTXL. And it feels like the last 10 minutes of this game have just been fighting at arm's length, not ever quite committing
It's
to the
been
play.
prodding. It's been prodding. Neither team necessarily wants to commit because it's final game. If they make a mistake and it leads to losing that game, that's it, you're done. Neither team necessarily wants to go too crazy at the beginning, but this could be it. We've got ultimates coming back off cooldown for MOUZ very slowly. XL do still have Shockwave. I think Shockwave from Hatrixx, Deadly if he's allowed to free fire, Leader if he's able to get backline access. Also the 3 things I'm looking at here in this fight.
Okay, let's see if Leader can get on in here. Damage coming across. It's going to be the smite from Markoon to save the Drake, but at what cost? BTXL getting a stun, getting a shockwave. Satorius goes down. 4v4 now. True shot barrage. Only onto 1 here from Deadly as BTXL look for more.
They really want more.
Gadget onto the Rell warp. Drops the OK emote on his way out, but Leader stayed a little bit too long for this one. Jumps on in trying to get damage, but he's taken down by Deadly himself. And it's BTXL with 2 kills and a Drake.
Yeah, BTXL getting this dragon just slows down the game that much more. They're still in the lead in the gold, but honestly, I'm not sure how this game must feel in their shoes right now. You see Markoon secures the smite, takedown. Pridestalkr goes for the 50-50, but he isn't able to win out. And I mean, it just makes sense. Takedown damage is too much. Advienne does his best to keep everybody at arm's length on the MOUZ side so they can't commit any further. Loses his life for it, but honestly a worth sacrifice as BTXL then get to chase down the rest of the MOUZ crew. Gadget very cheeky with that Ramasoke emote, as leader has to also pay the life tax here for this dragon. BTXL, you'd imagine now, going to be a little more in control off the back of this team fight. Pridestalkr not able to get that blue buff. MOUZ going to have to be a little more cautious. We don't want this game to get crazy and chaotic.
Enjawve got caught here. True shot barrage just barely goes by. That was close. The side of Enjawve here, and it will be Baron started once more by BTXL. Enjawve doesn't have a way to force an engage, and maybe they just get the Baron straight off the bat here.
Yeah, they might be able to. They've got Chains of Corruption, Onslaught of Shadows. Everyone's in the area. They must know, they must feel just because of the positioning. Yeah, there you go, the teleport now from Satorius. This Baron's burning low, it's at 3k, here we go.
TP comes on in, Satorius moving in. Baron is so damn low. This is a 50-50 smite right here. Pridestalkr trying to get in, but he's stunned by Orome. The rest of the team jump in, and Enjawve on the back line here. Keep your eyes on Nidalee, who is free firing onto the spot. Guess what? Orome survived for the Gore Drinker somehow.
Oh my god!
Kill. That is unbelievable. Now leader lost without a hope or a prayer, taken down, and it's BTXL who own this Baron.
To hell with the expectations. I said BTXL, they're going to struggle as the game goes on just because of the nature of the team fighting composition MOUZ have put together, the scaling that is there. They are finding the picks. They are outclassing MOUZ right now in these last couple of skirmishes in mechanics. They found this fight. They should be able to secure this Baron. Pridestalkr's not done though. He's trying to make it into the pit 50-50. Satorius also on edge. Deadly, yeah. What can you do?
Pridestalkr forced away from the play. Once again, the return to the Baron is going to be taken down. Advienne low. True shot barrage again. Just barely shy of getting another kill here. The reset comes through. The Baron is there. BTXL win the play.
They win the play. They've got the Baron. It's about what they're actually going to be able to achieve with it. Get a replay of this fight. And the Baron is just burning dangerously low just as time goes on, but eventually XL just decide to sort of turn and look for the fight. You can see Orome dives really far forward on the backside. Enjawve rather, buys a lot of time keeping Hatrixx and Nidalee at bay. But I mean, just look at Orome, man. He's just not dying for so long. The Gore Drinker, the cold meat healing, it's just too much. It's too much at the moment for MOUZ to just burst him down and allow themselves to actually redirect some of their damage elsewhere. Orome once again on this Renekton, he's just buying so much time for XL and effectively kind of solo winning almost, if you think about it, that fight. To keep all those members away, it means they were able to put out the damage and eventually turn back towards the Baron.
And look, Jamada, do I have to? Yeah, Advienne and Hatrixx toying with the idea of an engage. I want to take a trip down memory lane as the old man of the cast here. And I want to remind everyone that the last time any team from the quote-unquote UK scene succeeded in a European tournament, it was Renegade's Banditos. That is eons ago. That's Alfaria and Maxlaw before they properly pro, right? That's a long old time ago, and right now BTXL are looking to make EU Masters history. Orome, you okay there, buddy? I don't know about the teleport. Splash to the mid lane there.
Look, it's okay. That's not okay though. Advienne getting engaged onto, but he's gonna turn it around.
It was all a bait. He's just a 5-head Rakan player. Enjawve low on HP, and there's a Q from Nidalee to snipe it. William Tell comes on true again. Mid lane tower is down. Hatrixx pushing for an inhib, and BTXL feels like they're on the cusp here, Jamada.
Feels like they are on the cusp. They've got inhibitor number 1. If they want to rotate towards the bottom side, they certainly can. Satorius a little bit out of position. If XL wanted to commit, they could have maybe thought about it. Maybe just being a little bit cautious just because of how close MOUZ were to that play. But despite having the numbers advantage for now, they don't want to force anything else. They're happy with mid-lane priority. They want to reset, try and make it back to Dragon. Just because for MOUZ, it's point. Yeah, 10 seconds up. So Hatrixx, I think, depending on how MOUZ may potentially react, though they've got a lot of ways to deal with, teleport out. And he will. Markoon looking for an assassination. Is monstrously fed, actually.
This feels dicey, but if he can find the spear on the right player, I mean, if Gadget face checks this.
If Gadget face checks, it's he might die. But blue ward, Markoon, dragon spawn, so he's going to turn around for it. BTXL, one dragon away themselves now. The next dragon will be a guaranteed soul if we even get to that point. Feels like the game could just turn on a knife's
Satorius
edge.
been found here. This could be the moment. Satorius gets a slow onto Orome. Doesn't flash for the stun here. Just accepts that Satorius gets away. Really great respect from MOUZ here. Like, you see Markoon trying to set up a play in the jungle. Doesn't happen. MOUZ respect it and keep their hopes alive. Remember, MOUZ never made it to the final before. They'd love to be the second Prime League representative in the final. We've seen big win in the past. Can MOUZ match it? Markoon stepping forward here as damage goes down onto the tower. Deadly can just keep on chucking. And remember, we talked about the poke from this team.
Enjawve in the back line.
Comes on through. It's Enjawve once again, but he's just too squishy to make this play. Forced down. Orome at the front line. There are the knockums as well, but they've gone too deep under the tower. Shockwave comes through. Pridestalkr goes down. Deadly still firing on all cylinders here. Jumps in on the leader, but he misclicks the auto attack. Can't finish the kill. It will be the inhibitor though. BTXL still make the play happen.
Yeah, they don't quite wipe the fight, and honestly, it looked like that could have been the case, but they get the inhibitor. That is the most important thing, and with Dragon being 4 minutes away, they've got about 2.5 minutes to set up shop in the top side, if that's what they want. And with Baron spawning in 2 minutes itself, it honestly just seems like the play. You play off mid lane priority, you play off the fact that MOUZ, they've got to respect the bottom lane inhibitor now, and you just play fully into the top side. You corner MOUZ into their base, you force them to have to come and check into the Baron, and BTXL's job is practically done from that point on. They're in such an advantageous position right now. The dive, it honestly, you were saying they were going a bit too deep. In the moment, it kind of felt like they weren't, but it starts off with MOUZ looking for the engage. They send Enjawve through the realm warp again, but like you say, quite frankly, not tanky enough. Advienne, one click away from being able to charm up multiple members, doesn't have flash, and that's probably the difference maker there. But they still managed to find their marks. Deadly isn't able to quite finish off leader or Satorius, and honestly, if he did, XL might have made the decision to try and end the game right there. But with 2 inhibitors down, like we see, XL forming up in the top side, they know they've got 2 lanes of guaranteed pressure now. The Baron spawning in 1 minute, that will be the next objective for them to focus on.
All right, now up towards the top side. Baron in a minute, as you say, and it feels like everything is in favor of BTXL right now. And just check out the scoreboard at Hatrixx. 14 out of the 15 kills he has been a part of. He has been the glue holding this team together across the course of this game. His Orianna has been clean across this series. And it feels like BTXL on the cusp, but MOUZ not out of things just yet. They can hold on. They do have the scaling advantage in the straight 5v5 that you were talking about before, but it feels like with this kind of goal difference, that advantage is very much waylaid.
Yeah, it really does. Shot barrage in an attempt.
Deadly. That is
in an attempt. I can respect it from Deadly. But like you say, I mean, MOUZ been very tenacious in this series so far, of course. Last game coming back from, I think it actually peaked as high as a 10,000 gold deficit. So yeah, MOUZ not quite out of it yet. They will not go down without swinging. But with Baron spawning up on the map now, I mean, all BTXL have to do is just shove in waves and return back to Fog. There's actually, if we could get a vision toggle on the top side, I just don't feel like there's anything going for MOUZ right now. They're gonna have to check with blue wards, realm warps. It's gonna be that kind of game for MOUZ now.
Yeah, there's like 2 blue wards and they're just on the wolves and the grump. It's not even. Yeah, look at that. What can you do?
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, I was about to say, if you're XL, you're starting out the Baron, but they're already done with it. And there's not really much recourse for MOUZ to do. They've grouped up on the bottom side just to try and sort of, you know, trade the immediate gold back, but they're gonna have to reset now and answer this impending siege coming through on this top lane. Oh, is that gonna stop the
trying
base?
to stop the recalls. It's a little bit late, but I like the creativity. I like the gusto there from Deadly. It's gonna be onto the tower they go, but it doesn't even matter about the recalls. This tower surely will go down here. 1 more auto to finish the job. Looking for a 3rd inhibitor on the side of BTXL, and this lethality Varus not really doing enough across this game so far. Inhiblo, Deadly will be able to survive. Gets a shield out from Hatrixx as well. 1 or 2 more autos. The cannons will do the work. BTXL finish the 3rd inhib. Mid one has respawned, but they have complete control of the map at this point. 30 seconds on that Ocean Drake, and it's time for a reset from BTXL. Pridestalkr wants to find someone though. Hatrixx and Advienne, they're stuck in the wrong place. Advienne might have to sacrifice himself here, but he can dash back out. Enjawve now stepping forwards. He needs to be careful because that shockwave from Hatrixx will do a lot. Advienne over the wall. BTXL, how on earth have they got away with that?
I don't know how, but Advienne had to blow his ultimate. It's on a relatively short cooldown, but to be up for this dragon would probably be a miracle. So not going to have that available. Satorius potentially caught out.
Yeah, flashes out. There's the fear out from Pridestalkr as well. BTXL feel fine on this one. Enjawve just over the wall looking for the engage. Oh, it's huge from Enjawve! Shockwave is there from Hatrixx. Let's try and survive the play. Orome is on the backline, 1v1ing leader. Gadget surviving now, but Markoon jumps in onto it, flashes away, somehow survives. But the rest of the fight has already gone to shambles for MOUZ. And BTXL, they might just have it.
They might just have it right now on MOUZ. The engage was honestly beautiful, but there just wasn't enough follow-up damage to actually bring people below lethal. And now BTXL on the cusp of making history. It's been so long since we've seen an NLC representative or UKLC representative in the finals. They've got Lidder. Lidder's in zone. He's got flash, but he's got to die. I think this is it. They've done it.
BTXL make history and bring the NLC into the finals.
And honestly, I think well-deserved. They've had such a strong performance in playoffs. Yes, in groups, it looked a little bit shaky. It wasn't the most convincing performances that we've seen out of them as a team, especially considering how they played domestically. But they're pulling through when it matters, and that's the important thing. Advancing to the finals, it's such a huge achievement for the organization and also, of course, the region. But for MOUZ, I mean, heartbreak. Yeah, again, they take down big in the cores, and for them, it had to have felt like this series going up against XL was probably going to be one of their better shots to get a ticket to finals. And unfortunately, when it mattered the most, they tripped over and they tumbled. And it's a shame, especially after game 2, how tenacious they were to make it back into that one.
Yeah, and I don't want to just hover on the negatives here because it's a bit of a heartbreaker for MOUZ and for all the Prime League fans watching, as that is both Prime League teams now knocked out of the tournament. But on the side of BTXL, on the side of the NLC, it's a huge moment as they make it to the finals. We're going to jump into a break, and then we're going to have Advienne for an interview, who played a beautiful game of Rakan right there. We'll see you in a few.
welcome back to the EU Masters Semifinals. BTXL will face off against the team who wins in the second half of the day. But for now, I have Advienne with me to talk about this amazing victory for the NLC. Hi, Advienne. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hello.
And congrats on winning.
Thank you very much.
How was this last game for you? And did you expect the series to go to 3 games?
Well, I think every series, at least or every best of 3 we played so far has went to 1-1 and into 3 games. So I think I'd like to say that it's our comfort zone. And we knew it was going to be a really hard opponent. Obviously, MOUZ are really good players, so no, I definitely expected something like this to happen.
All right, and looking at the replays right now, I actually want to talk about the composition you chose for Game 3 because you adapted from the style that we usually know from you, getting to a more poke-style composition here. Can you talk me through the draft decisions and why you chose this comp against MOUZ?
Well, I think in the first 2 games, MOUZ showed that they were really good around playing with kill threat on side lane, playing the leader champs we all know. He played Yone, he played Akali, and it was super scary on it, and I think they played really well around that. So in the 3rd game, we decided to just kind of flip it all around and just play something where they had to kind of front to back and play our style to see if we could like flip it around and win it like that, and it worked. So
yeah, it worked. I mean, we were looking at the last fight here for you, was so well coordinated. Can you talk me through the decision making here and how you made this fight a success?
Well, I think we just saw someone that was that's caught off guard, and we went on him and we forced them to kind of commit into us. They failed the engage, and after that the fight was smooth sailing, I'd say.
Impressive. And we look at the post-game breakdown right now, and when you look at the stats and the damage dealt by all the players, it was mostly a bot lane show, I want to say, especially in the early game, because they tried to dive you so much. How did you react to that, and did you have to adapt your game plan to what they were throwing at you?
No, I think our game plan was quite solid, and we knew what they were going to throw at us. And we also knew that we could handle it, so I don't think I broke a sweat.
Smooth plan here. There's something I noted about BTXL. I feel like the team has got stronger throughout the tournament. It feels like you found your ultimate form here, especially throughout this best of 3. Would you agree? And how do you explain the performances you had from the group stage to the best of 3 series you've seen?
I mean, I'd say, honestly, I think we were that good in group stage as well. We just like had a little bit of the jitter still. We had to kind of get into it. Obviously, Mark and I are our first timing EU Masters, so everything was new for us. But I think as soon as we got a few games in and we started winning, we felt really in control, and we could show that we were that good the whole time. So.
You were that good, and I mean, you can see that now the team is clicking and they're all on the same page. And you were telling me that you're a rookie here at the EU Masters. So a rookie grabbed the first spot for the NLC and BTXL in the EU Masters finals. How do you feel about this?
I mean, mostly just lucky. I got into a team with really good players, so I don't know, like any good player that gets into a team with good players will get it this far.
It's a team effort, Advienne. You played insanely well throughout the whole series. We're going to have the second semifinals in a couple minutes. K-Corp versus UCAM. Who's taking it? Who are you going to face tomorrow?
I think K-Corp will take it. Obviously, we played against them. They're a really good team, and I hope that they'll show it today again, so we can take revenge on them in the finals.
All right. It's revenge that's called here, but Advienne, for now, thank you so much for the interview.
Thank you, Laura.
And best of luck for the finals tomorrow in the EU Masters.
Thank you.
And we'll soon find out who BTXL will face off against tomorrow as K-Corp and UCAM face off in our second series. You don't want to miss it.